Okay. Uh, I just went home, so I'm a bit tired, so I might be a bit out of air, but I'm super excited to record this. This is a complete guide from Gooner to Bloomer. You know, Bloomer is this guy, it's like Wojak, the meme, who is always happy and basically like enlightened. You can turn from Gooner to Bloomer really easy if you just know the right techniques. Actually, it's a blessing to be a Gooner because it means you have a very strong drive, sexual drive and libido, and you can actually turn this around into great power. So if you struggle to go on streaks and you're watching porn, the first thing I recommend you to do is to stop watching porn. You know, everything is better than seeing nude females. Nude females is the most strong hyper stimulant and it is super addictive. Even if you instead watch T-girls, it's already much less of an issue and better for your charisma, and it's later easier to let go of that. And then you have to go further and only use safe for work material. I don't recommend Reddit because on Reddit you will be tempted to go on the profiles of anyone who posts any SFW, safe for work material, and then there on the profile you might see something that is not safe for work. I recommend YouTube. This is just the next step. This is not the final step. The final step is to let go of everything. So, when you're away from corn, at some point you only go on YouTube or whatever and only watch safe for work. There's many sections, like for example feet. Then you stay with that until you don't need this either. You know, you just learn to stop doing everything. Little side info, it doesn't matter that you're not into T-girls or feet or whatever I just mentioned, because you can retrain your sexuality to be into any kind of. Because if you deprive yourself of other outlets, you will get sexually activated by the things that you give yourself. And you can use this to your advantage as stepping stones towards ungooning your life. At the same time, also, you have to stop touching yourself and, you know, fapping. You have to stop that. You can use, if necessary, some helping material to make yourself stop, for example, a cage. You can focus on prostate for stimulation instead, also to just go away from focusing on the dick. You know, the more you are a Gooner, the more open-minded you probably are to use such techniques to stop gooning. And they really help. But all of these are just in between steps. The goal is to have no climaxes at all. Any type of climax, any type of orgasm is bad. Yeah, and there are different types of orgasms and they're all bad. The regular orgasm is bad. Doing too often prostate orgasm is bad. And there's also oral orgasm, and this is bad as well. You have to learn to stop all of these. If your urges get too high at some point, you have to learn to not edge. In the beginning, if you need to edge, you edge, you know, using your dick, but this is also suboptimal and lowers your energy, frequency, charisma. Eventually, you learn to not even edge. You don't touch yourself at all down there. You can just watch safe for work material when your urges get too high. And there are different also parasexual techniques that you can use that don't involve having climaxes of any kind and that don't involve touching yourself down there, because even edging is bad. And these parasexual techniques are, for example, the worship of an object or replica, but without using your genital area and without climaxing in any of the three mentioned ways. Another way technically would be to tie yourself up, because this creates some sort of excitement, and another way would be cosplay. Sexualizing yourself, basically. These are different ways that are parasexual, but these are all just stepping stones to ungoon your life. If you ungoon your life, at some point you need nothing. At some point you realize the only thing that makes you actually engage in any type of sexual or parasexual act is because you feel down or because you are full of stress and exhausted, which basically boils down to being down as well. Especially in summer, this can happen if you have a busy day, you come home and you are tired, and maybe you retreat to the bed or the couch or whatever, and you would do the edging or whatever you would do, and at some point you realize you don't need to do any of that. You can just relax on the couch like a normal human, and after a while your exhaustion goes away and you by yourself naturally will again have the drive to stand up and do something else. You just let it flow, and then you do whatever you do afterwards, instead of wasting your time hours upon hours on edging or any other sexual act. Oftentimes what makes us edge is when we are bored or we see that everything is pointless, and we have, for example, too much time during the day, and we cannot work out because we already worked out, or we just took a shower and it doesn't make sense to work out right now because we have later an appointment, and then we might edge in the meantime. But if you edge, you do it because you have a bad feeling, because you know that you're not productive, and then you try to escape by edging. But you have to understand that if you're edging, you're still not productive, so you might as well just lie around for a while and chill, and you don't need to feel bad about that. And I tell you, if you do that, you will normally naturally shift out of that state and you will regain power. And so yeah, you do this less and less often. You will at some point realize you only once a week even have the urge to edge or whatever, because you are exhausted, and then you just chill on the couch, and that's fine. And if you're not able, then you do the safe for work parasexual methods. But this is how you learn to completely stop it. To be honest, now that I know a lot of such techniques, I would probably even be able to do prostate orgasm method with corn, and then I would have a charisma boost, and in the past this would lead to relapse later because I would have too much drive and chaser effect. You know the chaser effect, when you had a strong sexual activation and you felt great, but later because of this you are very tempted to do it again because it's addictive. And I think that even if I would have such strong urges nowadays, I could transmute them by doing parasexual basically parasexual engagement to safe for work material. I think this would even be enough to deflect the urges. This is how I call it. But this is just the first step, okay? Like, you don't need to do this activation with corn or whatever. This is just something that comes to my mind because I might experiment with it at a later point. But right now I'm super happy because everything is going well. I learned to not need anything. Even if I feel down, I can just lie on the couch and do nothing. Or, like yesterday, I again did the TRE session, trauma release exercises, where you are lying on the floor and you are tremoring. I will put a link in the description. You can see how it's done, then you can repeat it. And then I did Kundalini yoga. I will also put a link in the description so you can see the exact method. This is what I did yesterday because I was feeling a bit down. Even though I saw that everyone is having eye magnetism towards me, all girls are interested in me, everyone treats me well. I even went personally to a marketing agency, to talk to the owner if he might hire me for a job, and it was a very great conversation, and now I sent him further material yesterday. So I think this might work out as well. So everything is super great, but because I internally felt down for a moment, actually I recalibrated by myself because I was just lying on the couch for a moment and then I felt again good. But I just thought, okay, it is already since quite a while ago that I did TRE and Kundalini yoga. So I decided to do it again. Then I went to the students bar. It was great. I could talk freely with everyone. And today it's even more great. Like, I really see the shift and how easy it is now for me to outperform others and to just have strong charisma. You know, I'm, for example, in the kitchen at my girlfriend's place. All type of different girls come in who are her neighbors. And, you know, this can really stress a guy sometimes if a lot of girls are around him. But I don't give a shit anymore. Like, I look them dead in the eye. Like, this is how confident now I am. And you have this with everyone. You are walking on the street, people pass by. Normally, I have such social anxiety that I would be worried. I would think, oh, where should I look? And, you know, it would just stress me, but I'm completely unfazed. I sometimes even forget that people are around because I'm so zoned in on my own stuff. And this is where you need to get to. This is how you get from a Gooner to a bloomer. This is all the methods that I shared so far. How you get from someone who is hypersexual all the time doing stuff to someone who is completely in control of his sexuality and is not doing anything anymore. And the only reason why you would even think about again watching porn or doing sexual acts is to experiment and see if this can sometimes push you even higher, push your charisma even higher, because you can trust that you later know how to handle yourself, that you stop the chaser effect, you know. So this is something that maybe at some point I will try, but not now, because now I'm super satisfied the way it is, and maybe this is all I ever needed. And it was great. I went to the bar and I was playing beer pong against the super pro, and I was so winning against him. It was ridiculous. I was hitting twice cups in a row, multiple times. I was on fire. In the end, he still had to hit 5 of my cups and also, and I already hit all of his cups. Only one was left. Yeah, but at the end I won, of course, you know. And even with kicker, with table soccer, I was winning against a very strong guy 4 out of 5 times. And then the strongest guy of all came, and I nearly won against him. It was still not enough, but I nearly won against him, and I told him, bro, I think for you I have to go to Super Saiyajin level 2. This guy is ridiculous, he's a genius, he is a hacker, he is completely crazy, but even with him, I will get there. For this I need to go even higher, double jump into the haze state, into the highest power. And for this maybe I just need more time of retention, or at some point I need to have some further activations, which I'm experimenting with. Because, yeah, engaging sexually can sometimes push you even higher. But this is just an advanced level. And so far what I told you are the basics to ungoon your life. So you can easily go from Gooner to someone who is completely retaining if you do the practices I told you, as ways of deflecting your urges. Of course you clean all your apps, your websites. You make it so that you don't have all the sexual content available easily, you don't have anything saved anymore, and you don't see stuff randomly only because you browse somewhere. You have to clean all your spaces, you have to be devoted enough to do it. It's really not that hard. Once you do it, you realize it's easy. And if you fall back and you again accumulate stuff, you delete it over and over again, until at some point you completely stop needing it. But enough of these basics. There are of course other things. You need to work out. Workout is important. You know, Bloomer is someone who has his entire life under control, everything runs great for him, so he needs to work out. You know, when it comes to social anxiety, you will lose social anxiety because you're doing already semen retention, but you know, you don't even need to go to a gym when it comes to workout. You can do everything from home. You just need weights that you can lift. You need maybe an expander that you can stretch for your chest. And you need also weights that you can put on your legs. And then I personally, most of the times, I work out every day. One day I do all the weight exercises and the other day I do all the floor exercises. You know, when I do the floor exercises and also the weightlifting, I always do every different type of exercise 3 times in a row with 2 minutes in between. But to be honest, I'm at such a point that I only do 1 minute of break in between. But you can start with 2 minutes of break, and you normally have the entire exercise finished within an hour if you are quick. So if I do weightlifting, I do triceps, biceps, also the side muscle on the arm, I do shoulders, I do a table exercise where I push myself up from the table with one arm, and in the other hand I have my weights and I lift them from down to up. I do squats while I'm holding weights, but I only do them once, not 3 times, because squats are super exhausting. They are for the butt, I don't need to do them too much. And I do expander, stretch the expander for my chest. On the other day I do something I call weighted crunches. You know, I have a yoga mat. I'm lying on my back and I'm pushing up weights. Then I put weights that go around my legs. I lie on my back, I keep the legs in the air and they are stretched. Then I pull them towards my body and away again, and I do this a lot of times. This is good for the lower six pack. I do push-ups, I do Russian twists while I have a bag in my hand where weights are inside. I do push-ups and reverse push-ups where I am on my belly, I call them reverse push-ups, like they're not really push-ups. I lie on my belly and I stretch my arms and my legs away from me, and then I again take them close and stretch them again. This is an exercise I'm doing. Also with weights on my legs, I do a wheel exercise where I'm lying on my back and I do a wheel movement with my legs. Yeah, these are, I think, all the exercises. So one day you do weightlifting stuff, and the other day you do all the stuff where you are lying on the floor. And if you do this and you have to figure out how much weights you use, or how many reps of floor exercise you do, and with time you can do more and more, and you will look completely shredded. I basically work out every part of my body. You can see previous videos where I show myself, where I record. I don't think it's necessary to always record myself, but you can see how I look. So yeah, my entire body is worked out. I personally have a bit of belly. That's an issue. If you really care a lot, you can go on a treadmill. You can put it at home. You just push into the pedals with your legs like a bicycle, yeah. And you will sweat so much and you will lose a lot of weight. I just don't do it often. I don't care. A bit of belly doesn't bother me. I am so shredded, I'm wearing oversized t-shirts, preferably, and it's not even obvious that I have a little bit of belly. If I have to go to the swimming pool or something, I don't eat before that, and then I look, I don't have a six-pack, but then I look kind of thin. I look in very good physique. This is an important part. Girls like that. They always say, oh, it's not so important, character matters. Yeah, this might be true, but of course with a good body you also attract a lot of more girls and you get more confident and stuff, and also guys respect you more. In every way it's good. If you want to have a job, you need also charisma. You get this through semen retention. You go personally to an agency or any company that you want to work at, and you present yourself in person, you talk to them, you give them some of your documents, and the rest you send them later. You will create such a positive impression on the people that you will probably get a job. So yeah, this is how you get a job, and this is how you get girls. You can get a girlfriend. You have to find a real social environment where you meet the same people over and over. For example, students' bars, because there always the same people come, but you can do other stuff. I don't know, whatever is up to you, right? Cooking courses, I don't know, whatever there is. You will find your own way. I told you how I do it. And then you just talk normally to girls. You don't even have to flirt a lot. Only when really something comes to your mind, you will say it. I give you a good example. One time, in winter it's always funny when girls are saying something, and then you say, yeah, you can take off your jacket, and you say it with an undertone that is kind of implying that you want to see more of their body. I don't know. It just happens like intuitively. You get more confident because of the semen retention and you flirt automatically. You don't need to try to flirt too hard. If you're a beginner, yes, you can have your villain phase where you on purpose provoke and very provocatively flirt, only so that you get more easy going with it and less stiff. But this is just a villain phase and you will get some negative feedback if you overdo it. But this might help you to loosen up and be a bit more chill. This is stuff you can do. So far, I don't know, I taught you how to stop gooning and go on retention. I taught you how to get shredded, a good physique. I taught you how to get a job. And I taught you how to get a girlfriend. So basically this is an entire guide on how to unscrew your entire life. If you have issues, I don't know, dark night of the soul, psychosis, whatever, anxiety, learn to breathe. Breathe a negative energy from your chakras into your heart chakra and transmute it. Get a feeling for your chakras. This is all the stuff you can do. My life is great right now. I really feel like I unlocked everything. Like, it is ridiculous. There's nothing that can stop me anymore. I'm completely above the world now. And by the way, honestly, don't overdo the edging. It will create issues for your body that can become chronic. You have to really be careful with that. But yeah, these are techniques I can tell you. Okay, there's one more thing I need to mention. Of course, if you do workout, you take afterwards protein shake. This doubles your success. You need to do that. You can buy good, cheap protein shake powder for like €10, so probably more or less $10. And you can, before working out, also drink a bit of creatine powder in water because it's supposed to help you work out more. But I think this is not even the most important part. But protein powder, this is amazing. Okay, by the way, Kundalini Yoga and TRE session, I did it basically 19 days in between, but I think two weeks of break between a TRE and Kundalini Yoga session is sufficient, because if you do it too often, it will not benefit you. Actually, it will do the opposite. And the other thing I need to say is, technically now I am on 2 weeks of semen retention. A week ago, I did a parasexual recalibration to save for work material, but honestly, this doesn't count. And if I'm very, very precise, even 2 weeks ago, I didn't ejaculate, so I'm probably on something like 3 weeks of a streak. If you're very precise about it, just saying. Like, for me, it's honestly weird to count days, because you never know, should I count if I do a sexual act as relapse or not, as long as I am not using corn and as long as I am not ejaculating. So yeah, but the point is, I'm in a very high streak power right now. Like, really, now I'm above the world. And I have another weird but effective tip. In case you are a smoker, then go from smoking to vaping. I personally think it's better, but if you want to stop vaping because it gives you chronic issues or something, take something that you can chew permanently and it will help you. Something that is like a rubber material that you can chew forever and it just will not get destroyed. I mean, you can, for example, take those dummies for babies or pacifiers or whatever. You can cut off the front part and you just chew it. This is an example. You can do different stuff. Some rubber toy or whatever. There are different things and you can just chew them. I know it's stupid, but it helps. And it is healthy and you stop needing anything. This is just so that you let go of the vaping and then you can stop everything. It's just like with gooning, It's a weird technique, but as long as it helps, it is what it is. I'm telling you just very helpful stuff. It's a bit like with these books where you learn dark magic and it's written, hey, don't judge me, I'm just a messenger. It's a dark magic. If you don't want to use it, don't use it, but it helps. So do with the information whatever you want. Also, one thing I wanted to say is that when I had my 3-month streak a while ago, I was actually playing Grand Theft Auto San Andreas on computer and I was heavily modding it and including nude girls in the game, and you could have sex and stuff, but it was very, very low graphics. Later I got more sophisticated models, and I think at some point it got too sophisticated and might have harmed my streak, my charisma. But in general, if the way I did it in the beginning, it was also a great way to, have some type of sexual thing going on without fully giving in and going to some porn website or something. But yeah, I was just playing this sexually modded Grand Theft Auto, and I had great charisma anyways. So I could just play the game, and you can do this with other games, and I was doing it instead of corn. And every time I was walking on the street, girls that I know, they would smile at me and say hi. So, take it for what it is, but it works. I don't say this is optimal, but back then this is how I did it, and it just worked. Bonus tips. When in the evening you have too much time, I mean in general, if you have too much time, you can go on walks instead of, doing anything sexual. And in the evening you can, for example, do weed. I don't say it's healthy, but it's just a method that for me it worked. Also, then if you stop the weed for a week or so and you're also on retention, it boosts you higher. You get added charisma from both things at the same time. Plus Kundalini Yoga will help push you even higher. Meditation can also help. But all stuff in moderation. Doing stuff repeatedly will not have the same effect. But if you do, for example, meditation once, it will push you higher. And also, if you take a little amount of edible, one that you can take and you will still be able to socialize and not have brain fog and mess up words or something. And then you go out, for example, to the bar. And you do it once, because if you do it repeatedly, it will also have diminishing effect. But if you do it once and you're already on retention, this is just my experience, this might differ for other people, but for me it's like this. If I then go out, weird kind of magical stuff starts to happen. like the whole world is on drugs, not just I am. And then occasions occur and synchronicities happen that help me manifest something socially that I was desiring. This is also a way in that, for example, a girl can be sent your way that is exactly the right girl for you. This is a crazy example and it works. Other than that, if you get more metaphysical, I can tell you, you can always perceive every person as a mirror of yourself. This is something that helps greatly. You understand if someone triggers you, there's a reason why the person triggers you, and it's mirroring something that you have in yourself. You have to learn to perceive everything that happens in your life as a lesson or something that in some kind of way pushes you further instead of pulling you down. This is important. You need to basically live life as if it is a lucid dream, and you learn to dream this lucid dream in a more and more positive, harmonic and cohesive way. Because if it is a dream, then you can master it and it becomes, instead of a nightmare, a very positive one. By the way, since we're talking about dreams, you can use lucid dreaming to manifest stuff in real life. You can, for example, dream of a girl and then manifest that this girl in reality also likes you. I just experienced this once, like 2 years ago or so, but I'm sure you can also use this for other areas like business. I'm not an expert in lucid dreaming. I only had a real full lucid dream once, but I know that there are many ways that would help to lucid dream, including the intake of different pills like L-arginine, which can make you stressed, so careful with this one, but also wormwood and mugwort. And I saw on Reddit people posted about other ways as well, but I'm just not an expert, but I have to try them at some point. They were also talking about galantamine and piracetam. Technically they say you should move your eyes around before sleeping. This will induce maybe a vivid lucid dream, and you can say a mantra in your head: I will have a lucid dream, I will have a lucid dream. And also they say alpha GPC is another thing that you can take. So yeah, but I guess that's enough now. You can also watch safe for work material to later manifest girls that fit the same criteria of the material that you watched, because on retention you have higher manifestation power. Yeah, if you have time, you can also manifest a girl or a job or whatever using one of these things that you can see right now on screen. You move one by one always every of those pearls, and you say God is great in Persian or whatever. You say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Behach Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, while focusing on your goal that you wrote down, and you do it until you did the entire accessoire one time, that you did all the pearls, and then the next day you do it twice, and then the next day you do it 3 times, and you do it until you have 45 or 40, I don't know, I'm not sure, 40 or 45 of them in a row. You can of course stretch it, you don't need to do it every day, but in the end it has to be the same amount. It will just take longer if you don't do it every day, or if you don't do it the required amount of times per day. But yeah, at some point you will manage it to do completely. It might take a month or longer, maybe it takes multiple months normally, and then you will, with a high possibility, shortly afterwards manifest like a domino effect. It will still take a moment, but then you will manifest what you wanted. There's also another thing. If you have a girlfriend, you have also to learn how to maintain the relationship with the girl. And an important thing is that you learn how to argue if you have an argument. You have always to explain your point to her until you reach an understanding together with her. Don't let stuff go. And if you go deep enough, and it's not just about girlfriends, it's about arguments in general, you will realize at some point that there's never an evil part. You are not doing anything wrong and she is not doing everything wrong. Oftentimes people just argue because they feel accused, and then they feel they have to defend their point of view. This is an ego mechanism. But if you understand this and you can name this mechanism and explain why you're acting the way you're acting, then the girl, for example, or whoever, will understand your point of view and be okay with it and accept it. You can always talk. If there's issues, you have to find the middle ground. You have to adjust. You have to understand each other. You have to understand what's bothering the other person, what expectation is unmet. You talk about it and you do it differently in the future. This is how you solve issues, and this is how relationships stay together and don't break apart. I can tell you one thing: humanity's great awakening is completely on its way. Because of the internet, metaphysical concepts, spirituality and so on gets very quickly communicated and shared in groups like Reddit. People learn quickly. Those people that want to grow are growing. More and more knowledge gets spread through memes and just through posts. And yeah, spirituality is coming back. People are using words like aura maxing. Spiritual concepts are more and more prevalent, even in normie society. More and more stuff gets revealed. Retention gets more and more famous. We are so getting there, my friends. It's coming quickly and it comes strongly.